Hey! In this video I'm going to talk to you about octaves. I'm going to tell you what octaves are and how you can find them and play them on your guitar. I'll play some riffs and kind of classic guitar things that make a feature of that octave interval, and I'll kind of map out some really important lines across the fretboard that make it really quick and easy to learn the notes on the strings and how to find that octave gap. Okay, so an octave is a span of 8 tones between notes. So the very familiar sounding gap, we hear it lots in music and it feels really comfortable and kind of familiar to us. So I'm gonna jump in first of all with some riffs, and then I'll show you where you can find these on your guitar. And if you want the worksheets that accompany this video, get over to Patreon, patreon.com/soundhookmusic. Excellent, enjoy. Let's have a listen to some riffs and guitar ideas that make a feature of that octave interval. And I was just trying to illustrate how much this interval, the space between notes, crops up in popular music. It's great to play them on guitars. Now, I'm going to take you through some octave shapes on the fretboard. So we're going to start off at the 5th fret of the low E string. To play an octave higher than that, we need that note. And the rule here, when the note is on the low E string and we're coming this way up the fretboard, is to skip a string. So we go from E to D, and then we skip a fret. So we go from 5 to 7. So 5 on the low E is the same note, an octave lower than 7 on the D. Now that shape's completely movable. So I could play, for example, 8 on the low E, skip a string, that takes me to D, skip a fret, that takes me to 10. And there's that octave happening over there. Now, the great news is we can remember that kind of rule, because when we go from A to G, it's the same. So let's take the 5th fret of the A string, skip a string, skip a fret. So 5 on the A is the same note, an octave apart from 7 on the G. Now, guitar's a funny instrument tuning wise, because it's tuned in perfect fourths from E to A to D, and D to G. When we come from G to B, we have to skip down to a major third. So I'm not sure if you've ever tuned relatively, where you play the 5th fret of the E for the A, 5th fret of the A for the D, 5th fret of the D for the G. Then you go 4 on the G for the B, and then back to 5. Now we can see that impact here, because when we play the 5th fret of the D, if we skip a string, so go to B, and then skip a fret, and go to 7, that is not an octave. It's a major 7. We need to go up another fret when we go over that G string to the B string. So the rule for the D string, 5 on the D, skip a string still, but skip 2 frets. So D over to B, skip 2 frets. So 5 on the D is the same as 8 on the B. That was in there. Okay, now 5 on the G is the same rule as D to B, so this is G to E now. We skip a string to E, and then we skip 2 frets. So 5 on the G, is the same as 8 on the B. Now, I'm by no means kind of a Wes Montgomery expert, but I do know that he would use that octave shape a fair bit when he's playing. That kind of staggered shape over D and B and G and E. Okay, now we're not always going to work this way up the fretboard. Sometimes we can think this way. So let's take the 5th fret of the E string again and find an octave above that going this way up the fretboard now. So 5 on the E becomes 2 on the G. There's an octave. So the rule now, if the root note is on the E string, is over 2 strings over 2 frets. Got an octave line there. So that repeats up the neck. Alright. So 5 on the E, or any time on the E, over 2 strings over 2 frets. Now on the A string, we go over 2 strings, so A to B, but only over 1 fret. So 5 on the A to 3 on the B is an octave line. I think of that the C major line. You think of your C major chord, the 1st and 3rd fingers are playing octaves. And that shape repeats up the neck. Okay, now we could be on the D string at the 5th fret, and to go this way up the neck and play an octave, we go over 2 strings over 1 fret. So that 3rd fret of the G goes to 5 on the D. Alright, now once we're on the G string, we have to go quite a long way back. It's not really a shape we think about that way on the G. We think that way really. Alright, now if we're on the B, so we've got that E, we're thinking that C shape going that way. I would be seeing if I could incorporate this into my kind of existing knowledge of the fretboard by testing myself, maybe taking a note on the E string and seeing if I can kind of figure out where the same note is on the D string an octave higher. I'll show you what I mean. So let's take the 4th fret of the low E string. Now hopefully you know that that is G sharp or A flat. So you've got E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp or A flat. Now the rule for the low E was skip over a string, skip over a fret. So there's a G sharp on the D string. We can quickly take the knowledge we've acquired and accrued by knowing the notes on the low E string and translate that onto the D string. So we can quickly learn the notes on the D string. So E, and then F, okay, there's an F, G, there's a G, A, there's an A. You do the same across A to G, D to B, and we already know the high E because that's the same as that one. Okay. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope there's some stuff there to kind of expand your knowledge of this octave interval and show you how to find it on the fretboard. Don't forget, knowing how to play octaves for the sake of it isn't very musical. Try and apply it to musical things. Try and listen out for those octaves in songs and riffs that you love, and use it to kind of expand that knowledge you might have. You might know the notes on the E string. Now you've got a way of quickly knowing the notes on the D string. So enjoy. Please give the video a like if you enjoyed it, and if you're liking the content we're putting up on this channel, give us a subscribe as well. See you soon.